Hey guys, James Wilson-Taylor here for Roxanne. We are backstage at Download Festival 2022, and the guys from Static Dress join me now. How are you, gents?
All good, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, all good.
Good to see you guys. Good to see you guys. It's got to feel nice kind of actually finally being back at Download. I know I saw you at the pilot and everything last year, but this is a whole nother level, and by God, we're glad it's back, right?
Yeah, for real. I felt like this year was our redemption. Like, it didn't happen last year. I know for me on a personal level, it wasn't the best time. Like, we came back with like just so many changes, and obviously not playing a show in literally over a year. It was just a bit foreign water, and everyone just panicking, and we kind of like overplayed. But this year, I feel like we're really kind of more in our stride with stuff, and it felt like a proper show this time around, for real.
Really nice to hear that. Really nice to hear. How have those new songs been going down as well? It's like, that's always a nice little tester moment when an album's come out.
I was shocked. Like I was like, oh wait, these are doing better than the old ones. I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. Like, I think with the way they're written, they're way bigger songs than what we had before, so they kind of translate in a wider space or bigger room a lot better. So it felt really nice. Also to see people singing the new ones, because there was a bit of a hesitant with obviously having singles after singles after single. You run into the problem of people knowing the singles are not a body of work.
Sure.
So personally for me, and I know it's shared between the rest of us, we were worried if people are going to relate to this and actually know the album songs and want to sing them back, and thankfully they did. So
really nice.
It was a good time, especially at 11 a.m.
Oh God, Jay, you got to wake them up, man. You got to wake them up straight away.
Honestly, it was the worst. Like, I wasn't even awake at all. I ran on and I was like, I am so tired. I don't know about you, but like,
Yeah, same for me.
my eyes were barely even open. Like, I was like, this is this is so weird. And then before you know it, you blinked and it's over, and I'm like, right, well, the day's done. And I'm like, oh wait, it's 12. Like,
oh wait, yeah, it's still like not even lunchtime yet. There
it's
it is.
midday.
It's midday. Work is done for the day. It's a nice one, man. Let's talk a little bit about the album actually, because obviously, congrats on that. Really nice to see the kind of reaction as well from the fans, like we say, not just in the live stage, but in general, people like being really, really pleased to finally see the full length come together like that. Tell me a little bit about, I guess, that reaction, but also when it did finally click for you, like that in that writing process. Like, yeah, I think we're there with this album now.
I think a lot of it was just a battle of getting it done, because obviously we went through a lot of getting it finished. So there was just the definitive day, and there was kind of a rush to get it finished. Like, we finished recording the vocals in my conservatory, like attached to my family's house, because there was nowhere else we could record, because we couldn't go in the house because of COVID, because this record was finished in COVID time.
Wow.
Like, so we put out the comic soundtrack at the end of last year. We wrote, recorded, and did that post-album. Like, that was rushed in that short space of time. We already had the album finished by then.
Wow.
So,
straight on to the next thing.
Yeah, so we had to just like do that, and I feel like doing that allowed us to have more of a run into this record and like make more sense, and concept-wise, it allowed us to pull more in. But the definitive moment was pretty early on, to be honest, because we got Sam in, and he just blasted through the drums in 2 days. Well, not even 2 days. It was 18 hours.
Yeah, it was something like 2 days or something stupid, man. I surprised myself. Like.
We were like, oh, we got it booked in for a week, and then we sat down and did it, and I was like, he'd one take a lot of songs.
Amazing.
And then we sat there like, yeah,
that'll do. Yeah.
It genuinely was. It was like, yeah, I guess. And then we moved on from it. So as soon as that was finished, and like I say, we did this vocal recording literally in a conservatory in the middle of summer, because we couldn't go anywhere because of COVID being such a big problem, and I had to finish the vocals just sat on a laminate floor. Yeah, it was.
What I love about that is because it's a conservatory, there's every chance that some neighbor nearby could just peek over and be like, what is going on in there?
Oh, yeah.
Sweet video. When we shot the Sweet video, it was like in Ollie's garage, and then like a neighbor came around. They were like, "What are you doing in there? Oh, you shit anyway."
Like
heckled by the neighbors.
Yeah, straight up. Shout out my shit neighbor. But like, she came around, and I hear this banging, this screaming, and I was like, is this my? I was like, is that my mum? Like, I was like, they know we're using her garage today. Like, what's going on? And then she's just like, come out here now, and I'm like, what? We're all just like stood there like, what's going on? And she's like, you get out here now, and I'm like, no,
because I live here.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
I was like, no, and she's just like, right, well, you got 40 minutes, and I was like, oh, grow up, this was the kind of thing with the area.
Madness.
So there was a few times when we were doing the vocal tracking where this could have been an incident, and we'd have people like walking past, and I'd just literally shut the blind and be like, out of sight, out of mind, quite literally.
Hey, nice to sample them if possible. Just get
oh
my God.
I should have at the time, but I was just so enraged. I was like mid-shoot, and it was like hot and warm, and I was like stressing and getting it done. And the last thing I kind of needed was someone coming up and being like, "Oh yeah, my life," and I'm like, "What is like? Yeah, what?" Just
Hey, made it through the problems in the end. Made you stronger.
I
I'm
think
sure.
as like that as a sentence is kind of a sum up for the record because
Right, sure.
there was so much going into it, which was just such a massive ache, like a massive strain. Like for me, like physically, there was a lot of hurt going into it, and I hope it kind of paid off. And I just want to kind of move on to the next thing. now and
Absolutely.
just,
It sounds like so ambitious because, like I say, obviously there was the comic soundtrack as well. I hadn't realized that you like literally had already completed the album. Like, let's go and do that. That's amazing.
Yeah, it was already done, and we'd released Sweet because obviously Sweet came out this time last year. The record wasn't finished by that point, was it? No. So we finished it a few months after that, and then we had these demos and these other bits lying around. And I thought, okay, for Slam Dunk Festival, we'll just pop everything on a disc and kind of like, just throw it out there. And then whilst at Slam Dunk Festival, our manager came over and was just like, "What's this?" And I'm like, "Ha-ha." And then he took it home and listened to it and was like, "Yeah, you're putting this out." And I was like, "Uh-huh." And I was like, "Right, so album's coming out next year and you want to get this out?" And he's like, "Yeah, so you're dropping it in 3 weeks."
Brilliant.
So we kind of sat down, rewrote, re-recorded and refinished a lot of stuff, and then I had to come up with this entire concept and comic book and work with my good friend Tanya and get it finished and all that in the space of 3 weeks. So a lot of struggle, a lot of pain, and a lot of rushing, and a lot of sleepless nights.
Ambitious though, and I love anything like that where it links into a wider world, especially with things like comics and stuff. It just works really, really nicely. Is that something you kind of want to explore a bit more moving forward? I mean, maybe not a comic, maybe it's something else next time, but it's nice to expand these things, isn't it?
Yeah, for real. Like we're gonna creatively, we're always gonna keep throwing things out there and going further with stuff, because I feel like for a band like us, like surface level, like a lot of people stop at the music, but for us, is like we always want to give everyone more, like for everything. Like you can make a single last 6 months if you give people enough to go off with it, rather than being like, oh, there's a single, you're existing for a week and then you're done.
Yeah.
We want to be like, here's a single and here's the entire world around it, and then that's what we create and kind of span out, and it's all just kind of world building and making a huge deal out of everything, and hopefully putting value back into music.
That's a good turn of phrase. I like that. It's a very, very good mission statement to have. Before I let you go, gotta pick your brain on this Bring Me the Horizon Malta thing, because I've chatted to quite a few people of late who got to get up on stage with them and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Tell me about your experience, man.
So Ollie just hit me up being like, yo, I got a list of songs. Do you want to pick one and do it? And
Brilliant.
I was like,
It was the night of the album release, and Ollie just like showed me his phone. He's like, I'm like, bruh.
Yeah,
That's
It was
great.
literally the night we released the album.
Oh,
as well.
that's so lovely.
We were just about to count into like the final hour before it came out, and I got hit with this, and I'm like, what? Like I was like, yo, what is going on? So hit me up from there. I was like, yeah, sure, I'll pick Alligator Blood, and then it just happened to be honest. I saw him after we played. I think Sleeps played a bit late or whatever, and I managed to bump into him literally just coming down the stairs, and I was like, oh, you're right, like, and it was just sound from there. We had a chat, and then it came round to it on stage, and it was really funny because it was me and Alex from Malev just both like reading it, being like, do you know your bit? I'm like, I know my bit, but I'm just like, you forget it as soon as you stood up there.
Of course.
And like for me, I've never been in front of that many people in my entire life, so if I walk out, it was just like, all right, okay, this is weird. And I'm like, oh, these guys got a carpet on the floor at least, When we went, we were sliding around everywhere. But I walk up and there's that many people, and I'm like, oh my God. So I'm looking over this way for the majority, and I'm like, wow, there's so many people. And then I do like a quick minute, and I'm like, oh my God, there's even more people there. So it took a lot to sink in, but just blessed with the opportunity of
what
it.
an experience.
This is what I'm saying. Like, this could end tomorrow or whatever, or like the world could implode again, and I'm still going to have that. I'm never going to forget that.
An amazing, amazing moment, man, for sure.
For real.
I'm going to let you go and enjoy the rest of your weekend, boys, but I'm
It's
sure
all
we will
good.
catch up soon, and congrats on the show today and everything.
Thank
Good to
you.
see you guys, all right? All right,
Thank
Static Dress, everybody.